Down at home decided to watch some TV, listening to the news like Gordon Mosley, and listening to the things that he say he tracking tonight, paying close attention to make sure I hear it right. Now when I hear the things that he mentioned on the news, I have to declare them kind of thing got me confused. I hear some things where the ERC noticing, and it convinced me that people ain't learning nothing. We hear so many times about them big name calling, and they say me are pretend that they didn't learn nothing. But once you're black and you just decide to say a word or two, bet your life on that they say me are coming for you. Listen to the things you just hear on social media. Only one set of people allowed to talk in one Guyana. I still say nothing, black people in learning. But this is my concern. I hope one day black people will learn. ERC that I would like to know, if any of its members happens to be black people, and if that is the case, I want them to answer this call. Tell me how come none of them ain't got no voice at all. You're showing signs of weakness and you're afraid to be fair, and we see the same thing keep happening year after year. And the day will come when all this nonsense will stop. That will be the day when black people decide to wake up. Not so long ago, something terrible happened. This young Indian man want to kill out all black people by poison. But if his shoes was on the other foot, would have been a big threat. But up to this day, this ERC can do nothing as yet. How come it's only black people committing cybercrime? When pretty on social media fussing people all the time, I still say black people in learning. But one day will come when the entire table will turn. Excuse me, see they fail to condemn, because these people think that the law is only for them. And anybody else who decide to file a complaint, they go call you a racist and don't want to hear nothing. Plenty complaint from time to time has been brought to their attention, but because of this one-sided cybercrime is why they don't show any concern. There's only one set of people that they really care about, and black people must take the abuse and shut them out. Kidaki Amsterdam went to court just recently for an issue that was highlighted by the same ERC. And with breakneck speed, the police decide to jump on his case. Without a search warrant, they went and search up the man's place. Let us all agree that black people under attack. Different laws for you and me just because we black. I still singing, black people in London. To all my black friends, we must put a stop to all this nonsense. Cybercrime laws to keep people silent, just to make sure nobody criticizes this government. And while that is a very clear case of dictatorship, it is no surprise that the ERC ignoring it. Why only the chosen few is allowed to have things their way, when people like me and you must have nothing to say? And when ministers in the government start to launch their attack, you never hear this ERC come out and talk about that. They send a policeman all the way to New York. This fella went up there to serve a cold summer and ring for work. Under they say, this government decide to fabricate a case, but like they forget the warning they get from Black T-shirt jails. The vice president described that he use as a low life. Because of this kind of abuse, he don't have a wife. I still singing, black people in learning. Just the other day, I hope your man see help is on the way.
All right, so today we are here at Club Twilight up in Buxton, and we are here to talk about all that's going on up here. Trust me, if you are on the East Coast, you're in Buxton, you're in Tongley, looking for a place to get away to, this is the place. The Cutters, listen, I'll be having some just now again. We'll talk about that. And then, of course, the ambience is beautiful, fully air conditioned. The decor is on point. The music's on point. Everything's on point. It's just me. I need some work. But everything else that belongs to this club here is on point. So if you want to find a nice little place where you can just drive out of town and have some drinks, have some food, you can call, you can order your stuff and just take it. You don't have to stay. Or if you want to stay here, that's what's up. And of course, they have special events for Valentine's. You can rent a hall. You can rent a hall, honey. You can rent a hall for weddings, for birthday parties, to have a bash. I hope he edits that out. But you know, whatever it is, this is definitely the place to be. So it's on Sideline Dam. You definitely want to ensure that you check this place out. But it's on your to-do list. All right, on your to-do list. This is definitely the place to check out, you know, a really cool, chill spot here in Buxton. I like this. Buxton needed this. We needed this. I needed this. You definitely needed too. Thank you. All right, so you might be wondering where we are. Still in Buxton at Club Twilight. That's where we are. So Club Twilight also has like an Airbnb as well. So you could come, drink, drunk, and come in the back here and lie down. Look at that. Look at that. Perfection. And the people come in the room and so on. The bed sheet matching the blind, matching the carpet, matching the this, matching the that. We know but we things in Buxton don't play with we. So definitely if you want to come and you may be having a wedding or whatever and you just want to overnight and just have a good time because you're going to be drunk, we got too much road accidents. So you definitely want to come drink, have a good time. They have several rooms that you can rent. You have your toilet, you have your bath, you have your sink, you have your dining area, you have the bed. This is nice. I like it. Anyways, to my friends and my family, if you're looking for me, I'll be overnighting. Also, for those persons who are traveling in from overseas, you want a nice, cozy place out of town, then Club Twilight, call them up, look them up on social media. They have their own Facebook page, and ensure that you come up the side and have a good time. Have a good time. Have a good time. Sorry. I'm sorry. That's it.
Don't be a victim. Beat the heat with EC Crystals. Party ice in large and small quantities. Call 682-7981 or visit us at Club Twilight, Sideline Dam, Buxton North. EC Crystals. Pure party ice. Are you hosting an event? Do you need ice, party ice in large or small quantities? Then call us at 622-5933 for the best party ice available. $1,000 per bag. We do delivery. EC Crystals, Sideline Dam, Buxton North. Call to have your orders filled today.
So Wambai, all you do? May you support the coalition like me? Very good choice because the coalition putting people first. But let me ask you something. You check for your name on the list yet? Well, partner, you got to check for your name on the list and show you there. So you go put the vote next to the palm come the 1st of September. Let me show you how to check them. In a hard man, you just got to go up on GCOM website. When you go up on GCOM website, you go see this thingy. You see them? That GCOM website. You just got to scroll up or scroll down, whichever one you want to call them, but you try to go bottom of the page and you see this red and white writing here, resource hub, click Panda. Once you click Panda, you will see general and regional election for September 2025. Scroll up again. And then right on your left hand side, you see query tool. Watch me click Panam and it turn blue there. Click Panam. Good. Now you read the page there. They ask you online. They tell you about online tools, query registration status. All them must say check to see if your name there. You can put in your ID number and you can search by ID number. But me I want to give you my ID number because not for you too fast. Now what my ID number. Me go search by my first name, my last name, and my date of birth. So me put in Kidaki Amsterdam. Me put in my first name Kidaki Amsterdam. Me put in my last name. Right? And then me go put in my date of birth. But again, me don't want to mind my business. But me go put in my date of birth. But are you watch me face good and proper? Me, I want coalition supporter because the coalition is putting people first. Right? When we don't put in my date of birth and you don't put in you want to click on search by particulars. When you click on search by particulars, this is how it will come up. You see revised list of electors and so on. We watch your name there right there. Me name there right there. When you scroll down, me name there right there. Occupation, teacher name, Amsterdam, Kidaki. Address, 9 section C, Buxton. District 4, Demerara, Mahika. Division 421-127C. Buxton Village, Friendship Village, south of the railway line. We tell you, man. You want Bagnam side, man? And me stay strong. Me as support the Aubrey Norton for president and director of finance for prime minister coalition, the APNU coalition. Because they got policies that are people centered. They're putting people first. So when September 1st come and you go in the booth, now whether all of them just come, Johnny come lately, and all of them will tell you stupidness. Put your X next to the palm. Palm them out. You know what I'm saying? Let me show you what the palm look like when you put your X next to. In case you don't know. What's the palm there? Put your X next to the palm and vote strong for the APNU coalition. Because we put in people first, and when you vote for we're going to ensure, you vote going to ensure that we get rid of the nasty, dirty, stinking, thieving PPP party and give you the best opportunity in this country that you ever had. So vote APNU. But before you vote APNU, remember you have to check to ensure that you're named upon the list. So go GCOM website. Go check them. Okay? Me gone. Me left for you. But spread the word. Spread the word. Tell everybody how to check for their name and tell everybody to vote for APNU.
Are you looking for tents to rent? Well, look no further. At EC Party Rentals, Sideline and Buxton North, we have tents in all sizes and colors. All sizes of tents we have. Small tents, big tents, medium tents, extra large tents. Call us on 622-5933. We have what you need. EC Party Rentals. Big on tents.
You can get meat anywhere, but for the best cuts of chicken, beef, pork, mutton, and lots more, check out T&W Harris Butcher Shop located in the East Ramveld Market Meat Section. Call us on 609-7168, 641-4494. Ask for Rastaman. T&W Harris Butcher Shop for the best in fresh cut meats and lots more.
In the year 2025, how are you doing? I think this is the eve of the joint services vote. I wonder what them policeman and soldier man and fireman and all them other man, military man thinking. I hope it's to palm the PPP out. Yeah? Imagine 2 power ship, millions of US dollars when the month done, and there's still no reliable electricity in this country. It's blackout in the land of Guyana. But anyways, the program got to go on. I hope Mr. Jordan in a blackout, because it's Mr. Jordan's morning. And so I'm about to call him, and, let's have the discourses. Life is funny. The PPP said they got a landslide victory coming. But even with this confidence of a landslide victory, they are doing the worst. They are doing the most. Imagine 2 days or so before the joint services vote, the PPP got police in Barbies harassing their political opponents. Well, they don't think those policemen got some sort of conscience or understanding or reasoning or something to see that is wrong. And that might very well influence the vote at the polls. I mean, I'm just pointing it out because I see it as downright stupid. But if it benefits us, it benefits us. I believe, without beyond the shadow of a doubt, I keep telling people, this is ours to, claim. We have got this election covered. The PPP in shambles. The one other thing I want to point out, me, I just get Jackie jacket. I just give everybody the rose and the flowers. Big up Team Forward Ghana. Big up Team Forward Ghana. See, they've taken GCOM to court on the question of fair and equal treatment, just treatment, if I can call it that, for all the political opponents. They're saying that, they are basically satisfied the requirements to be considered a contestant in elections, and GCOM has left the names off of the ballot in regions 1, 7, and 9, I think. And so they're challenging GCOM. They want to quote on that matter. So basically question the right of GCOM to do such a thing. From where I stand, it's a constitutional issue, and so it's a constitutional challenge. And kudos. Once you're bold enough, kudos. I know the desired results, but I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, you know what? Don't hold your breath. Because the person who has to hear that case, it's a fixed date application, which means it's going to be heard speedily, from my own understanding, because of the interest of time for the hosting of elections and so on. Right? I'm of the opinion that that newly appointed judge, Chief Justice, that junior judge that was appointed Chief Justice, that's the person who has to hear the case. And so I think it's a foregone conclusion. You have to decide what the results are going to be, but I was saying to a friend not so long ago, in fact, my brother not so long ago, nothing surprises me anymore in this country. I don't think Ghana get any more surprise to me. The biggest surprise to me in Ghana is when people, I think, is when people play fair and they abide by the laws and the rules. That might be a big surprise to me under the PPP. Because I expect the Harvey Norton, Journey to Finance, dividends, government, and so on to play fair. But the PPP, if they want to surprise me, let it play fair. So kudos to Forward Ghana for taking that bold step to challenge pilots and say, "How dare you? How dare you leave us off of the ballot?" Yeah, let me call Mr. Jordan. By now, everybody, I am sure, should have decided all the voting. By now, everybody should have made the effort to find out where they're voting. And so, as I would say, we should just be doing the mopping up exercise right now, ensuring that those who haven't been touched are touched and so on. And, tying up loose ends and so on and so on. Mr. Jordan, good morning.
Good morning to you, Mr. Kodaki. How you do, brother?
It look like you got electricity at your neck of the woods, by.
But I don't talk too hard, you might like me, man. You might like me. In this place, there's misery loves company. You understand?
The sound of the voice alone might cause some explosion at GPL, no? Like how the crows eat up the wire.
Or you might be sounding as where's my company in this misery that I am in?
You know, no?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it is such a shameful situation that in this Dubai or Dumbai country, where you have two power ships with perhaps a third on the way, and so on. Blackout is incessant, and all you could hear is Jagdeo claiming that once we get back, there will be shake up at GPL. Wait, hold a minute. The people at GPL were put in by whom? By the coalition government? When they come in, as soon as they come in, they got rid of one of the best managers the GPL has had in the last 30 years. A manager, a CEO who was recruited from regional after advertisements were placed locally and internationally. Rigorous process that ultimately gave us the Jamaican person. He didn't get in any great super salary or something, but he was a master. He understood the system. He knew it. And everybody, including supporters of the PPP, if they want to be unbiased, they would be able to say that they enjoy a better supply of electricity under the coalition government than what they're getting right now. But as soon as they came in, he was promptly sent off. Right? So they have no interest in performance and so on. They got interest in friends, family, and favorites. The present CEO, was he recruited through an international advertisement? Huh? And they talk about nepotism. He's the brother of the Attorney General. And he was installed there. He wasn't a candidate who applied for the job after international things shortlisted and everything else and came out as the best candidate. He was installed there, family. And then you're giving us this pious foolishness about if we win the election, there'll be a shake-up at GPL. Who are you shaking up? Your friends and family and favorite? So I hope as we come back to this, that people who have been fooled so often before will take the mote out of their eyes and the glitz from their faces and realize that all that is happening to you is that you're being fooled continuously. But that is an aside. I know, notwithstanding the blackout, that you have been given kudos. You must be in a good mood, Kidaki, are you? You must be in a good mood because I see you've been given kudos. So I think I will follow in your footsteps and hand out some kudos also. So I'd like to congratulate Dr. Arif Bulkan on his recent elevation to judgeship on the Caribbean Court of Justice, Guyanese's apex court. In doing so, he is following in the footsteps of other Guyanese eminent jurists, Justice Desiree Bernard, who remains today. The last appointed Chief Justice and the last appointed Chancellor in Guyana. Everybody else subsequent to that has been acting. Chang, Carl Singh, Roxanne George, and the present Chancellor, who's now on leave. Everybody else has been actors. So he's following in the footsteps of eminent Guyanese jurists, Justices Desiree Bernard and Duke Pollard, both of whom are now deceased. May their souls continue to rest in peace. Dr. Bulkan served previously, as I recall, in 2018 under the coalition. Well, he didn't serve on the coalition, but he was appointed during the coalition's term to a short period on the Court of Appeal. And from all indications, acquitted himself extremely well. There is some view that he applied recently to be a judge on the Court of Appeal, prominent judge, but apparently was bypassed. Apparently was bypassed, seeing that all the appointments or all the nominees have been named and most of the appointments have been made. You know, there's something about being a prophet in your own country or so on. You guys could complete the rest, really. He is obviously the brother of the well-known Bulkan family in Guyana, of whom Janet Bulkan, Dr. Janet Bulkan, well known, social commentator, environmentalist, professor, and so forth. Howard Bulkan, who was recently in the news, in which he was chastising the private sector and the government on the performance of on the 15% tariff that has been imposed on Guyana, compared to 10% by the other Caribbean territories, or most of the other Caribbean territories. And he was concerned that, being one of few manufacturers in the agricultural sector, more particularly in forestry, that he will be, his products will now be severely become uncompetitive with an addition of a 15% tariff. So yes, he was in the recent news. He's also a brother. And of course, the other brother, I won't want to say more famous, but Ronald Bulkan, who served as the Minister of Communities in the coalition government, and who until recently was a long-standing member of the PNCR. I understand now he is giving his attention to the Forward Guyana movement. As noted in the release by the Regional Legal Services Committee that looks after these appointments, that makes these appointments and so on, as noted in the release, Dr. Bulkan was selected from a field of about 26 applications spanning 14 countries as diverse as Nigeria, Fiji, Canada, Australia, and the United States of America. That he has come out on top indicates the caliber of the man, his mettle, and his scholarship, or what he would have done for our Court of Appeal. But we are sure he's going to shine, perhaps even brighter, in his new position on the CCJ. So with his appointment, the CCJ will now be comprised of 2 Jamaicans, 2 Trinidadians, 1 Belizean, 1 Guyanese, and 1 Canadian Nigerian, or Nigerian Canadian. I think a Nigerian citizen who's a Canadian. So that will round out the full complement of the court. To also look at the other features, the human features of the court, there are 2 women and 5 men in the same member court. 2 women and 5 men. 1 woman from Jamaica, 1 woman from Trinidad and Tobago. This compares favorably with when the court was formed first, when there was only 1 woman, our own Desiree Bernard. And in terms of ethnic diversity, the court is now comprised of 3 persons of Indian descent and 4 persons of African descent. So it's a fair mix, fair blend, a fair blend there. Interestingly enough, when the court was first inaugurated, or when the court was inaugurated, under the presidency of Michael de la Bastide from Trinidad and Tobago, there were 2 non-Caribbean judges on the court. Justices David Hayton, who I believe hailed from England, and Justice Jacob Witt, who I believe hailed from New Zealand. And one of the observations I wish to make is that it is a pity that the court is not similarly comprised. In other words, a blend of regional jurists and non-regional jurists, preferably from the wider Commonwealth. I will tell you why I have that view as I continue in my whole review of this CCJ story, because it's important. Remember, the CCJ was heavily involved in our elections in 2020, right? So it's important to understand the CCJ itself and its composition and so on. Because now, if we accept the Nigerian/Canadian, there is now only, the court is comprised mostly, almost exclusively, of regional jurists. Let me leave that at that stage. Dr. Bulkan is joining the court, the CCJ, at a time when wide skepticism in relation to non-members or non-members of the court still prevails. Since its inception, the CCJ itself has struggled to gain wide recognition among the CARICOM member states. And as I said, this is notwithstanding its diversity that I just indicated, right? It has a fairly wide blend in terms of geographic representation, a reasonable blend in terms of ethnic representation, and although not equal or equitable blend of gender representation, there's still an improvement from 1 when the court was inaugurated to now 2 women out of the 7 justices. And the general view is that the court has acquitted itself reasonably well, but it has not been without controversy. And I believe the most famous of which was the Barbadian Prime Minister, then Prime Minister in 2018, Frondel Stewart, who had threatened to exit the Caribbean Court of Justice had he won the general elections that were scheduled for May 2018. Launching what was considered to be a blistering attack on the court, he referred to the judges of the Caribbean Court of Justice as, quote, politicians in robes, accusing them of political bias. See, this is very important. This was 2018, before the no confidence motion in Guyana in December 2018. there was concern being raised by Barbados. And at that time, the CCJ only, I think, let us see, you had Barbados being a member, Guyana being a member. And in 2018, who else? Perhaps one more might have been a member. There might have only been 3 persons being members of that court. So with Barbados threatening to remove itself from the court for all practical purposes in its original jurisdiction. By the way, I should mention the court has two jurisdictions, original and treaty. Everybody is a member for the purposes of the Treaty of Chaguaramas, whereas accepted that the CCJ is the apex court for the determination of matters relating to the treaty, interpretation of the treaty, and so on. But in terms of original jurisdiction, where the CCJ is seen as the apex court in civil and criminal matters for CARICOM countries, at that time in 2018, only Guyana and Barbados, at least as I can remember, were members. Subsequently, Dominica, St. Lucia, Belize joined the CCJ. So I think at the moment there are 5 CARICOM members who are members of the CCJ for the purpose of its original jurisdiction. Those are the CCJ is the highest court in those for those countries, meaning that they no longer have the Privy Council as their highest court. So yes, in 2018, Barbados threatened to remove itself had Mr. Stewart won the elections. And of course, the controversy stemmed from the court's ruling in relation to the Shanik Myers case in a Jamaican who was suing, I think, was it Barbados? Barbados for her treatment. And the CCJ ruled that she was either deported or whatever else wrongfully, and Barbados had to pay damages. And the other case, of course, in which might have incurred the wrath of Mr. Stewart, was in relation to, hear this one, Commonwealth citizens voting. I think a Commonwealth citizen had taken the Barbados Electoral Commission to court in relation to his name not being on the list of voters, eligible voters, because he was a Commonwealth citizen. And under the Constitution of Barbados, like in Guyana also, qualifying Commonwealth citizens can vote. All right, and that the fact that his name was off the list, he then took to the court, CCJ agreed, and so those are 2 of the matters that might have been called the wrath of Mr. Stewart. And given his unfortunate remarks that the judges were nothing more than, quote, politicians in robes, when he accused them of political bias. Back here in Guyana, politicians both in and out of government have also expressed their displeasure at some of the court's rulings. While they have refrained from openly criticizing the court, several politicians and others, especially during the period of the coalition government, expressed quiet displeasure over the rulings of the court during the elections in Broglio in 2020. And last week I alluded to perhaps what might be one of the ones that caused the greatest anxiety in this country when the court force ruled that it had jurisdiction to hear a matter that the Constitution, our Constitution, expressly reserved for our Court of Appeal. But the court, the CCJ, found that it had jurisdiction nevertheless to hear that electoral matter. And then, of course, proceeded to hear the matter and gave a different interpretation to what was meant to be valid votes compared to the Court of Appeal in Guyana. Of course, that CCJ decision did not sit well with several politicians in the coalition government and supporters of the coalition government, but being the apex court had to be respected and was respected. Still, some people express the view that the court might have been engaging in what in the literature is called judicial activism, essentially making law from the bench. But more particularly, it's a real judicial philosophy which holds that courts can and should go beyond the applicable law and consider broader societal implications of their decisions. And I think if you look back at that decision of the CCJ, they first implied that when the Constitution was written, the Court of Appeal was our highest court. Now that Guyana is a member of the CCJ and its apex court, what in a layman's term, my layman's term, because I'm not a lawyer, they're suggesting that, well, look, the Court of Appeal in the Constitution now really means CCJ in that sense. You know, lawyers who know this thing good can say, but at a layman's terms, I found that to be a bit of a stretch. But like I said, it's now the law of the land. Because it would seem that without the citizens of Guyana altering its own constitution, that the apex court seemed to think that it's invested with the powers to do so. Because I would want to feel that we have a right as citizens of Guyana to change our constitution. And so if we want the CCJ to become the apex court in relation to that particular matters, electoral matters, then clearly we can go and change the constitution from Court of Appeal to CCJ. But under this definition of judicial activism, it says, where the court can and should go beyond the applicable law, in this case, this is our constitution, to consider broader societal implications of their decision. So, you know, that's still, the jury is still out on that, but the reality is, it is now the law of the land that they can hear matters, electoral matters, where still in our constitution, it says Court of Appeal. So, be that as it may, anyhow, a majority of the English-speaking territories of CARICOM, representing a sizable proportion of the population of CARICOM. If I said English-speaking because I didn't want Haiti to be part. Haiti is not part of the court and unlikely to become part of the court in its original jurisdiction. So if we abstract Haiti, which is a member of CARICOM, you will see that a sizable number of countries, both in terms of number of countries and both in terms of the population size that they represent, are very skeptical about joining the court in its original jurisdiction. Even recently, when the present president took over and was invested in Jamaica at the last CARICOM heads of government. And this question was asked by journalists of Jamaica when they're likely to join the court. All the answers that you get could only be put down to wavering, and waffling. But there was no commitment to join the court, much less joining the court anytime soon. Similarly, the same sentiments exist in Trinidad. The irony of which is that they are the seat of the court. They are the seat of the court. The irony of which they were in agreement with the setting up of the court, and they lobbied to get the seat of the court, but today are reticent about joining the court.
Yes, Shane, we lost Mr. Jordan there for a bit, but we'll get him back shortly. Soon and shortly, we'll get him back. So y'all will strain there for we. We're coming back to you just now. I'll come to Guyana. Well, like I said, any surprise for me is when the government decides to play fair. And perhaps when things controlled by the government work. That would be my surprises. So I'll go call Mr. Jordan again. And hope that all is well this time around. And so on and so forth. Let's go. Come, let me go. Picnic, come, let me go.
Yes.
Yes, here we are again. Over to you.
Yes. But where did I? Do you know? Perhaps based on any the comments where?
The last thing I heard you talking about was the fact that Trinidad had lobbied for the CCJ to be hosted there.
Oh, okay, right. Good. Yes. All right. So if we can pick up from there, indeed, Trinidad had lobbied to get the headquarters of the court, and did indeed get it, and so on. So it's something of an irony that the seat of the court is in Trinidad. The first president of the court was a Trinidadian, and they are extremely reticent about joining the court. In addition to the fact that they are a republic and should have cut all ties from the mother country, they've still retained, and they still seem to be interested in retaining the Privy Council as their highest court in terms of the original jurisdiction. And similarly in Jamaica, one of the most revolutionary countries in the Caribbean, and so on. The fact that they are not a republic as yet still sees the king as their head of state, and still are wedded to the Privy Council, says a lot. In addition to, of course, they paid, in terms of the contribution of the $100 million that the court used as seed money to set up the court, that they would have paid the highest at that time, based on all the criteria for the percentage payment that was calculated. So it is a concern on all levels. But I think the greater concern, which will be extremely hard to overcome, is how the Caribbean perceives themselves. A small community where everybody knows everybody, and therefore there's a concern that they will be tampering to the familial, collegial, community, and other friendships and relationships, that the judges are too close to, whether prime ministers, other politicians, other influential friends, and so on. They're too close, okay? And that picking from this small community could influence judges. It's not to say that it has any merit, or that we know of it having any merit. So the court has to work triply harder to dispel those notions. And to the extent that 7 years ago, that a prime minister of one of the countries that were actual members could be calling the CCJ judges politicians in robes, suggests or does not give comfort, especially those who have not joined the court as yet, and may give credence to what they perceive to be the two familial collegial relationship. Of course, we don't know that Mr. Stewart had any reason other than his wrath and his anger to be saying so, because it is the same Mr. Stewart who earlier in the year, I think, or in an earlier period, was chastising all those who had not joined the court as yet at that time. He had made those remarks at an intersessional heads of government. So it might have been earlier that 2018. So if a couple of months after making statements chastising the others for not joining the court, he was now talking about removing Barbados from the court because what he perceived to be the judges being nothing other than politicians in robes. Okay? And as I said, in our 2020 elections, and the involvement of the CCJ, particularly with that matter to do, where they ruled that they had jurisdiction and subsequently ruled about the issue about valid votes, it did not go down well with a significant part of the population, I said. So these are matters that the court has to deal with in terms of its optics and so forth, and to how to do what is necessary to persuade those who have not joined, particularly the two heavyweights, Trinidad and Tobago and Jamaica, who have not joined the court, how they can improve the confidence of those and the others, of course, to join the court. And as I said, it does not help that the court has moved away from the two non-regional justices that were there at the start to now one. Perhaps there could be a formula where the court will get at least two non-regional judges to sit on the court, if only to boost the confidence. Not saying that it's anything about the quality of the judges on the court or the quality of the judges in the region, but again, sometimes perception and optics are important enough. And for me, I would suggest that future appointments to the court bear not only diversity in the region and diversity in terms of gender, but also a balance between regional and non-regional. Because the non-regional can bring a very important part, an important experience and learning and so forth that could improve the quality of the decision making. Bringing influences from the rest of the Commonwealth to help us in our Caribbean jurisprudence, rather than what is now being perceived to be inbreeding, in that almost all of the justices are from the Caribbean itself. And I don't know how they get wrong this idea of small and too much of familial and collegial relationship, but I think the only way that could be is in the decision making, and whether those decisions pass the smell test and whatever other tests. The court will be tested again in our elections coming up. And Kidaki, you alluded earlier to the FGM's fixed date application. I read it. I'm no lawyer, but I will think from a common sense, equity, in involvement and all these things, that there is a case to be made out there. There is a case to be made out. So as you said, we'll have to see where this goes. But wherever this goes, it perhaps is a constitutional case and therefore will ultimately head to the CCJ. It may not be as controversial as the valid votes issue, but it's important from the standpoint of all the citizens, all the eligible citizens of this country in all the different regions having a determination or the same rights as those in other parts of the country. And so we look at that, and as I said, it's going to be. So that's one of the early cases that will end up at the CCJ, and the rest of the Caribbean once again will be looking on as to how these cases are dealt with at the level of the CCJ. How the court acquits itself in those deliberations and the decision making in these electoral matters, or the matters that likely to come to them, will of course be under the microscope, especially by those who have not joined the court. And no doubt they will be paying close attention, as perhaps they always do. As I, when you think about it, there's so much to be said about Burnham. A lot of people, as you said all kinds of things, but there's a lot to be said about Burnham. That Guyana could have moved swiftly to Republican status less than 4 years after gaining independence. And the pride of the man to see us cut those ties with the colonials, cut it out. And so since 1970, we had cut all ties to the Privy Council. All ties to the Privy Council. And we had established our own court, with the Court of Appeal being our highest court. All part of the whole issue of self-determination and independence and dignity and self-esteem and self-worth, and building up your own local jurisprudence and so on. That was the man. And in establishing the Court of Appeal as our highest court, notwithstanding people again would have those issues about local judges and all kinds of things. After all, it's the local judges who got to determine the case right up to whatever level you have. Then at that time it will go on to the Privy Council. It then jump from the beginning and go to the Privy Council. But particularly in ethnically divided societies, everything is suspicious and so on. But you can see in what Morning was trying to do was build up local jurisprudence where our locals, our people, will be governing ourselves, will be judging ourselves. And I do not believe, notwithstanding the Caribbean man that he was, that he wanted to move from a determination made by one set of people in a colonial setting, Privy Council, to another set of people in a regional setting, as in the CCG. And that even if he did believe in that, and which I think he was, because he was a Caribbean man, that he would have reserved something for our self here. And that in itself, in a sense, is what I felt that they did when they made the Court of Appeal in Guyana in relation to specific issues of a final court. That's only my interpretation. That is only my interpretation. That I felt he would have made Guyana join the CCJ, and definitely Guyana had to join the CCJ if it's Chaguaramas Treaty, and he would have made Guyana join the CCJ in the original jurisdiction also. But that, and the reason why I'm saying that is because in the 1980 Constitution, there was no change in relation to the CCJ or any other higher court or some such language. In the amendments of 2000, the constitutional amendments of 2000, there was no adjustment to the Court of Appeal or any other higher court or some sort of thing. So it gives the impression that the people of Guyana wanted the Court of Appeal in Guyana to be dealing with that specific matter that the CCJ said they had jurisdiction in 2020. And when you think back to some of the quality of the judges that were produced in Guyana back in the day, some of the chancellors, for example, J.O.F. Haynes, Victor Crane, he was also a chancellor, chancellors and Chancellor Kenneth Montague George, whose daughter, Roxanne George, is also now an acting chancellor. He was also a chancellor. And when you consider judges and appeal court judges like Edward Loku, Sir Lionel Loku, Gayo Prasad, Percival Augustus Cummins, whose son, Peter Cummins, together with Keith Bourne and Peppers from Christiani, were the original founders and partners in the ill-fated Mazzaroni Granite. The angry guard Justice Akbar Khan, Joaquin Gonzalez Sabola, Dan Japan, Aubrey Bishop, Frank Vera, Rex McKay, who at one time also served, I believe, on our Court of Appeal for a short time, just like Arif Bulkan, Dudnath Singh, Dudes, Cecil Kennard, George Pompey, Donald Robinson, B.O. Adams, George Jackman, perhaps the best director of public prosecution that this country has ever had. Harold Bolles, of course, Sir Harold Bolles, Charles Fangofat, Horace Mitchell, Maurice Truman, Fred Wills, Mohammed Shabuddin, Dr. Fenton Ramsawai, and you could go on and on and on and name quality judges, not forgetting the magistracy, not forgetting the bench, both the senior and junior bench. We had quality people of distinction who would have made any court, any high court, and so on, proud, much less the ones in Guyana. And so in many ways also, did I mention Chancellor Keith Messiah? Yes, he was an outstanding jurist, will be known for the Timal case and his ruling there, where wages were deemed to be property. And the fact that a promised $14 a day wasn't paid was in a sense mean the appropriation or the expropriation of property. Right? The case is fantastic in the annals of labor law. Keith Messiah, this is a quick one for you, also had a brother who was a judge, Justice Claude Messiah. And there's a interesting case. It is recalled by Ralph Ramcoan in his one of his conversation trees, right? But it's a case that I know very well as a little boy because we, as I said before, we had to read papers and read it till it's white. And when it's finished now, it can be used for that executory activity. And I remember that case very well. And it was, and, what's his name again? Assistant Commissioner Conway. He would, if he listened to the program, he would smile because I'm the one who had to correct him that it wasn't Keith Messiah, it was his brother, Claude Messiah, in the particular case that he was referencing. Yeah, so during the 1980s, Claude Messiah was asked to recuse himself from a murder case against several accused due to the appearance of bias on the ground that he, Claude Messiah, was previously a candidate on the PNC list. And the accused were PPP supporters. Now, there was an alleged outburst while the judge was sitting on the bench. There was an alleged outburst by a junior lawyer on the team representing the accused. As a result of that outburst, Justice Claude Messiah charged the junior lawyer with contempt of court. And after the hearing, the junior lawyer was fined $40,000. Now, can you imagine what $40,000 was like in the 1980s? $40,000. That might be a couple of $1 million today. So you could understand the severity of the fine if it represented the severity of the accusation that was hurled at him by the junior lawyer. $40,000 was indeed a princely sum after the junior lawyer pled guilty. And as Mr. Ramkuran noted in his conversation tree, were it not for the stirring intervention and plea mitigation by attorney B.O. Adams, and the fact that the junior lawyer pled guilty, the junior lawyer would have been sent to prison. Contempt of court, I think might have carried 6 months, a year, or something like that. So, yeah, I remember that case well. I remember reading that case. I remember that case well. I followed it a lot. Right? That junior lawyer is now a senior lawyer, still around, and so on. Went on to acquit himself well in private practice and the magistracy, and so on. And if I'm not wrong, might have been elevated to silk, and so on. So, sometimes we blood a little hot, and sometimes we want to spread our wings and so forth, and may say things that ultimately will get us into trouble, and so on. But the thing is that we should learn. We should learn from that and not progress down the line that we're going. So that is my part on the CCJ, Dr. R.F. Bulkan, and so on. I thought it was important because the CCJ was one of the actors in the 2020 election, one of the key actors in the 2020 elections. And they will be again. And I thought that some information on the CCJ might have been important today as we go forward. And this allows me, of course, since we were dealing with electoral matters coming down, to just segue to GCOM and the fact that the one But let's say electoral matters and not necessarily GCOM. So segue into electoral matters, substantial electoral matters in relation to the upcoming general elections. And the first one, of course, of note is the fact that the character center. And I heard you to that reading from the report.
Too long
yesterday.
PPP fatten up while we beg.
And so on.
Milk and honey gone,
I
but
think
we still
it is
drink
important.
dregs. Them build big house while school roof fall. And poor man crying when rain start fall. Them take oil, gold and timber
it was
too. But the
important.
children hungry, tell me what to do. From Burba Street to let them side. It's only lies them they're trying to hide. It's been too long, too long. The PPP must go. We've been silent while they do wrong.
I got it too.
Too long, too long. Them thiefing with a suit and a song. Too long, too long. We paid the price, they played the done. Guyana rise, we must be strong. This can't go on. Nah, this can't go on. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Contract sign in the middle of night. No tender, no board, just bribe and spite. Them cousin, them friend, them pot the deal. While pensioners can't afford one meal. The court slow, the press hush, hush. And critics end up on the bus. You talk too loud, they label you bad. But silence now gon' drive we mad. It's been too long, too long. The PPP must go. We've been watching while they plunder and gone. Too long, too long. It's only rich men be cheering on. Too long, too long. We dream dead while they live strong. Guyana rising with freedom song. This can't go wrong. Nah, this can't go on. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Who owned the trucks? Who get the land? Who signed the check with blood on hand? Oil money flow, but not to we. Where the hospital? Where the subsidy? It's been too long, too long. The PPP must go. We suffering wrong. Stand tall. Time for change comes strong. Too long, too long. The PPP must go. The nation mourning song. One people, one nation, one destiny. Arise up and move along. This can't go on. Nah. Justice, justice, justice now. We tired of bowing down. Freedom, freedom, freedom now. Time to reclaim we crown. Justice, 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 this now. We tired of bowing down.
You can get meat anywhere, but for the best cuts of chicken, beef, pork, mutton, and lots more, check out T&W Harris Butcher Shop located in the East Ramveld Market Meat Section. Call us on 609-7168. 641-4494. Ask for Rastaman. T&W Harris Butcher Shop for the best in fresh cut meats and lots more.
Morning, welcome to another program of Guyanese Morning Time. I am your host, Kidaki Amsterdam. How you do? How are you? How have you been? How will you be? Hey, it's 25 minutes to the 8 o'clock hour. It's the 22nd day of August in the year 2025. It's the day that the joint services vote. More specifically, it's the day that the police and army or military, as we like to say, soldiers vote. I understand that the fire service ranks will be voting with the general populace. And that discrimination already, you put them under the joint services banner because you want to control them, you want to prevent them being unionized, etc. But then when it comes to the joint services vote, you say, nah, y'all ain't qualified to vote with joint services. Y'all got to vote with the general populace. The little things matter. The little things matter. So the ranks that the Guyanese Fire Service have to ask yourself, how conveniently they're putting us with the joint services. And then suddenly when it comes to vote, they're saying, y'all got to vote with the general population. Y'all ain't no damn joint service. Talk to me. Anyhow, the joint services vote today, and that in this instance basically means that the police and the soldiers will be voting today. I wonder, prison services perhaps? Yes, prison services likely to vote today because I didn't hear any exception there. I only heard an exception about the fire service. Right, and so it's likely that the prison service will be voting today also. Because one of the things the PPP did, I think it was the PPP, I'm sure it's the PPP. The PPP are always anti-union, except GAU. PPP anti-labor. At least the Barjagio-led PPP. Anti-labor, anti-union. And so they took all the military and paramilitary service men and women in this country, and they joined them, put them into a group called the joint services. And the joint services are not allowed to have union representation. So all of the abuses you see in the police force and in the Ghana Defense Force and the fire service and the prison service and so on, it is a simple fact that the ranks of those institutions are not allowed union representation. Now imagine union representation. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have the will to strike willy-nilly because you're considered an essential service. An essential service is the different, I'd say, rules that govern them in the sense of labor and labor relations. And so you don't get to strike willy-nilly, but you get access to fair representation. And so if one of your senior ranks were to give you, one of your senior ranks or some politician who's behaving as though they're rank of the joint services, senior rank, they want to give you an instruction, an order that is an illegal order. Then with union representation, you know that if you refuse that order, the union will stand by you. You will be defended. But without that kind of representation, it's you, lonely you, only you, up against an whole institution, an entire organization that could stretch out and stress you out. Right? There's certain undertakings by the APNU when it comes to the joint services. There's certain undertakings, all in the interest of putting people first. They have given certain commitments. A lot of people talking about manifesto promises. I'm talking about commitments to this nation through the manifesto of the working of the APNU WP. Okay, there's a compact. A compact, like I explained earlier in the week, is a kind of contract with the people of this country, right? And the compact basically allows I want to share the compact with you. So you can understand clearly what the coalition is committing itself to. And it's not no idle gap. It's not no fair promise, as I like to call it. It is out there, and people will, of course, have access to it to hold the coalition accountable for it. And nobody can tell them that it Photoshop like the PPP did in 2020. So let's talk about a compact with Ghana. And I hope our servicemen and women are listening, because this applies to them too. I will get to more specifics for the servicemen and women. But let's talk with the compact. In the meantime, share the live, like and subscribe, invite others over. You know, one of the disappointing things, I mean, it has been happening for the last 5 years or so since I've been doing this program, and we never got it right. We come onto these programs here, onto this platform, and we don't share. When I look, for example, yesterday, more than 1,500 persons watching live, but only 41 shares. 41 shares. Don't you believe others need to get this information? We all sit here and we say, APNU, 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 we got to get rid of the PPP, we got to get rid of the PPP. But some of you seem not to even be willing to lift a finger to point your mouse and click share. How are we doing this? One set of persons only gonna do this heavy lifting to get rid of the PPP? Come on, man. Y'all do better. Y'all need to do better. And as I'm talking about that financially too, y'all need to do better. We on the last push. And this morning, I'm expecting to see the Zelle. I'm expecting to see the Cash App really blow up with your contributions. I don't expect after September 1st to have to come and ask you to contribute to the campaign for good governance in this country, because I expect that the APNU will be in government and they will deliver on good governance. So come on, behave as if you're at the bar and you're ready to go home. And you want them slack change in your pocket, so you get the whole bar a treat, or you just spell out. I expect to see the Cash App and the Zelle looking good today. Because from tomorrow is strictly road I doing strictly road. It's vehicle, it's gas, it's refreshments, is everything. It's strictly road I doing. We doing some serious work about starting tomorrow. I'm gonna be obviously, well, not obviously, but by reality, the reality check there. I'm gonna be the man behind the wheel with the sound system. Right? We gotta keep hydrated, we gotta keep nourished, and so on and so forth. So yeah, don't forget, let's throw up the information one time. I don't think you're running away from this one today. Be nice and kind to us. Yes, the compact, APNU compact with Guyana. A partnership for national unity, putting people first. Compact with Guyana, putting people first. This compact enshrines the vision of a partnership for national unity to transform this country by focusing unwaveringly on the well-being of the people of Guyana. This compact is our coalition's pledge and commitment to each citizen of Guyana, regardless of race, ethnicity, political affiliation, age, income level, religion, social status, gender, and geographic location. To honor this compact, we, the political parties hereunder listed, hereby formally commit our parties to contest the next general and regional elections, slated for 1st September 2025, under the name, symbol, organizational structure, and programmatic platform of a Partnership for National Unity, APNU. We hereby reaffirm Aubrey Compton Norton as our presidential candidate and Joretta Fernandez as our prime ministerial candidate. Conscious of the sharp rise in prices and deterioration of the living conditions of the masses of ordinary Guyanese, as friends, families, favorites, and fellow travelers of the PPP party enrich themselves. 2, the high and rising level of inequality, unmet basic needs, and poverty experienced by the Guyanese people, especially the indigenous population. 3, the hopeless mismanagement of the economy, accompanied by widespread corruption, financial losses, and minimal human development. 4, the squandering of the country's oil wealth, which puts the prosperity of present and future generations of Guyanese at great risk. 5, the trampling of fundamental human and constitutional rights of Guyanese as citizens, workers, and political and social participants. 6, why are you behaving like that? The dismantling of the guardrails of democracy and good governance, as witnessed by the government's lack of transparency and accountability, its disregard for the rule of law, its politicization of the police force and other institutions, and its resistance to widely supported electoral reforms. 7, the unhealthy state of ethnic relations and national unity. 8, the understaffed and underperforming public health and education systems. 9, the alarming rise in violence against women. 10, the increased chances that children and youths could be injured or lose their lives through government incompetence and irresponsibility. 11, the escalating threats to our territorial integrity and national scrutiny. 12, the increasing weaponization of the state. 13, the criminalization of the state. 14, the inadequacy of working conditions and the struggles of labor for full respect and rights. 15, the growing multipolarity in international relations amidst an increasingly fractured global economy. We therefore commit to creating a new economy based on the ideas that that's Roman numeral I, the more people participate as workers, producers, wealth creators, consumers, investors, and citizens, the better are the chances of building a vibrant and prosperous society and economy for all. Roman numeral 2, no citizen must be deprived or denied by virtue of poverty, deprivation, unemployment, and underemployment, low income, social marginalization, and discrimination. And Roman numeral 3, an investment and demand-driven economic model as opposed to the current trickle-down approach, could, with inclusive growth and shared prosperity, coupled with inclusive growth and shared prosperity, offers the best pathway to eliminating poverty, insecurity, and want, and guaranteeing living wages for all workers and livable incomes for all households. Creating a comprehensive social protection system based on the principles that Roman numeral I, social protection is the inalienable right of every citizen. Roman numeral 2, all Guyanese must have their basic needs met regardless of their circumstances. And Roman numeral 3, social protection must be a lifetime guarantee from womb to tomb. Reimagining and reinventing government into one that embraces and promotes people-centeredness, servant leadership, inclusionary democracy, good governance, responsibility and responsiveness, coalition politics, and data-driven and results-oriented policy making. Deepening democracy and governance by creating a parliament that works, an electoral system people can trust, good governance people can see and feel, and local government that delivers. Achieving ethnic harmony by Roman numeral 1, ensuring all citizens feel that their identity, culture, and rights are respected by the state and by their fellow citizens. Roman numeral 2, ensuring all prohibited forms of discrimination are eliminated in policies and practices, and in those cases of discrimination that result from unintended consequences and implicit bias. And Roman numeral 3, ensuring equality of opportunity for disadvantaged groups. Managing our oil, wealth, and other sources of revenue in a manner that Roman numeral I respects the fact that the country's oil wealth and other revenues belong to all citizens. Roman numeral 2 guarantees human development and not just economic growth. Roman numeral 3 is sustainable and recognizes the need for intergenerational equity. Roman numeral IV maximizes benefit. In fact, let me call it the right thing. Roman numeral 4 maximizes benefits for the Guyanese people without harming the attractiveness of the country as an investment destination. And Roman numeral 5 adheres to strict fiscal and public financial management frameworks. Transforming our communities into living spaces that are socially vibrant, physically attractive, environmentally preserved, healthy, safe, children-friendly, and ever-improving. Securing our national interests whilst taking advantage of opportunities for trade, investment, and international cooperation. Safeguarding the country against environmental threats and natural disasters in the context of global climate change. Meeting the key, come on, man, are you behaving like that? What's wrong with you? Meeting the key no, that's UN has to be. Meeting the key UN Sustainable Development Goals on or before the 2030 deadline, such as eliminating poverty, ending hunger, achieving food security, ensuring healthy lives, ensuring equitable and quality education, ensuring access to reliable and affordable water and energy, and promoting sustainable and inclusive economic growth with productive employment and decent work for all. Our manifesto is a culmination of several years of outreaching and listening to the Guyanese people and other stakeholders. It has also benefited from the advice of experts. Such a document, of course, is not intended to provide our full analysis and only partially reflects our thinking and proposals. We see it as a basis for continued conversations with the Guyanese people and other stakeholders. RBC Norton, APNU presidential candidate. Coalition partners, Guyana Action Party, Kingdom Liberal Movement, Legalize Cannabis Guyana, Movement for Improvement, National Front Alliance, People's National Congress, Reform, and Working People's Alliance. That's our compact with the Guyanese people. That is our undertaking. That is our commitment. We are making promises. We are committing ourselves to getting these things done. And so, my friends, my fellow citizens, my Guyanese people who will be voting today as members of the joint services, and my Guyanese people who will be voting on the 1st of September, as citizens of this country, I want you to take seriously the commitments being given to this nation by the APNU. I'm going to repeat. I would like you to take seriously the commitments being given to this nation by the APNU. It is an opportunity to see a different Guyana. It is an opportunity to live a different quality of life. It is an opportunity to experience a different quality of livelihood in the country of your birth, in the country where you are a citizen, where your government should work for you. Take seriously these commitments of the APNU. You know, the naysayers run around the place and say, they ain't got management experience. I'll tell you this, I always say it. Don't tell me about experience. Tell me about willingness. As Paul Williams said, tell me about heart. Tell me about heart. Is there heart in the leadership of the APNU to change the circumstances of the Guyanese people? And I will sit here and I will look at you in your eyes and I will say, yes, there is heart. I have not heard from any of the leadership from top to bottom of the APNU. I have not seen an unwillingness in anyone to change the fortunes of the working class in this country. And that is what empowers me. That is what invigorates me. That is what re-energizes me every single day. That desire to see Guyanese experience a better quality of life and livelihood. But it can only happen if the citizens themselves recognize the opportunity for a new start with the APNU and accepts it. I always say, and the philosophers perhaps have always said, people get a government that they deserve. And when they say you get a government that you deserve, it means you get a government, quite frankly, that you accept. A government that you permit. Because at the end of the day, it is the citizens who are responsible for electing the government of the day. And so I'm saying, you go there, you go out there, and you vote resoundingly for the APNU, then you get a government that will look into your interests, a government that will put you first, a government that will change the fortunes of the citizens of this country. I see one of them come out already. Don't say no, Miss Jailal. You don't ban as a child, one of them children left behind. You benefited from Praise No Child Left Behind policy. I've been watching you for a week, you know. And I've been seeing you trying to say PPP all the way, and you can't even spell to say all the way. DAY, all day. Wait, come on, man. Come on. You come to this college here, this university. This is an high-flux university. You come here to learn something. Take your brain out your lower posterior and put it back in your head. There's nothing that aggravates me like an ignorant coming here and type in ignorance. Y'all tell me don't answer them, but yeah, this guy answer them. Because you come from a place of learning, you come from a place of knowledge. And so when you see people coming at dancing ignorant self, you got to put them on the right track. Back to regular programming. You're not going to sit down in the corner, man. Y'all walk out your autism and whatever else bothering you. Back in the time, I would have said, why you don't go shy rice? But nowadays, if you shine rice, somebody enough fit to do. Yes, as we were saying, the APNU is offering citizens of this country the best possibility of getting out of poverty. I mean, you might be hearing about the policies in a piecemeal way because you got to consider people's attention span. You don't want to keep them discussing one thing too long. So you don't want to discuss an entire manifesto at the same time. But when you look at the policies of the APNU in a holistic way, the policies that embrace each other, it's holistic. It's not dash piece there and dash piece there and dash a song by there and dash a song by there. This one song nice like with dash me in that one song. There's cohesiveness in the policies, in the policy commitments of the APNU. We recognize that I like to talk about building brick by brick by brick. I'm going to show you the building blocks here. We recognize that if you're telling people that you will get them out of poverty, they first have to have a place, something they can call their own, something they can call their home. To chart and execute that plan to get out of poverty with your assistance. And so here the APNU position. Every citizen in this country deserves a plot of land. Every citizen deserves a plot of land. Those who can pay for it, government will make it available to them to pay for it. There are those who cannot pay for it because of their current state of impoverishment and the current state of being underpaid and even underemployed. Those people will be helped out of poverty by the APNU government giving them a plot of land. If you are 18 years and older and you work for less than $400,000 a month, you get a free plot of land. Whether you're a policeman, you're a soldier, you're a fireman, so long as you're a citizen of this country, let me don't worry about the differentiation. Any citizen of this country working for less than $400,000 a month and is of 18 years and older is entitled to a free plot of land. I've heard in all the talk that the other political parties are talking about wanting to help people out of poverty. I haven't heard any of them offer Guyanese a free plot of land. Right? And a plot of land is one of the realest ways of getting people out of poverty. Because with a plot of land, you enjoy a certain level of freedom. You're not tied to a landlord. to whom you have to pay rent every month, which in most cases represent about 3/4 of your salary in these conditions, these current conditions. And so you have to cut and contrive on what is left. And since rent is eating up your income, you don't have a savings. You have a plot of land, even if you start by knocking up something, as we like to say, you eliminate the rent man. You have more money to use to empower yourself. But wait. Not only did Aubrey Norton, APNU say we can give people a free plot of land if they're earning below $400,000 and they're 18 years old. We said that there will be a rent-to-own policy of this government. We said there will be a rent-to-own policy of this government. So you got options. You want a free plot of land on which you will build because you might have the ability to build? Or you know if you get the land, your cousins and auntie, and so they're firing and help you to build? Or you want to opt for a rent-to-own property because you're paying rent already, and you recognize here, if I pay rent here for the next 40 years, I still don't own this property, it belongs to the landlord. But if I take the same rent and I pay monthly to the government, in 40 years, I'm going to own this home. I got something to leave for my next generation. They ain't going to be rent payers. Isn't that a way of pulling you out of poverty? And I tell you something else about that. I guarantee you that the amount you will have to be paying to the state, to the government, as a rent-to-own person is not as exorbitant as the rent you will have to be paying to private proprietors, landlords. I guarantee you that. And so immediately a burden is lifted off of your shoulder. You have more, quote unquote, disposable income. When you live in a landlord's property, there's so many restrictions. You can't do business there. There's so many things. You know the restrictions. You know the restrictions. And so even that is a form of quote-unquote oppression. That is a form of control. Let me don't call it oppressive. That's a form of control. You're not living your best life because there are constraints. But see yourself in your own place. Your own land, your own rent, your own property. You're the boss there. So long as you do what you have to do. That is freedom. That is freedom. If you choose to set up a little sweetie stand in the corner of the yard because you know how to make sweets or you know how to trade in sweets and it will bring you extra income, that's on you. But when the landlord say, I want no vending in my yard, you can't vend, despite the fact you got all the skill. I want no commercial quantity baking in my yard because you might burn down my house. When you know that you can make proper pastries and make money. Somebody is saying you can't farm. You can't plant in the yard. So you can produce what you consume. You can't plant chuk two board and chuk two oko there, which the fact that you're reaping them from your yard going to eliminate you having to spend excessively large amounts of the market because things are extremely high in cost of the market. So envisage that freedom. Every citizen should envisage that freedom. But Norton, the coalition is giving an undertaking to policemen and women, members of the joint services. Say we're going to make it a priority. We will prioritize your land acquisition. Not only are we going to prioritize your land acquisition. Who's this? Let me take this call for a minute, please. Sometimes I choose to. Good morning. Yeah, but it's not a calling time yet. Good. Yes. So we going to prioritize land ownership for the joint services. I want to go further because I'm talking to all Guyanese. Public servants, land ownership, teachers, land ownership will be prioritized. Remember, we're putting citizens first. And so you're going to apply for land and wait 40 years to get it. The system will be revamped to ensure efficiency in the land distribution mechanism. But of course, if you're a teacher, if you're a member of the joint services, if you're a healthcare worker, essential services, you very well will get to skip the line. And you're not skipping the line by paying anybody any hefty bribe. It's not skipping the line by being a friend, favorite, and family. It's skipping the line because you're important and you're critical and you're essential to this nation building. Your promotions as members of the joint services will be based on merit and whatever the labor law says. Not because some divisional commander want to get under your skirt, or some divisional commander want to use you as his runner boy. Your promotions will be in keeping with the standing orders that govern promotions. So you can do your work, you can function as a member of the joint services, knowing very well that so long as you do what you have to do, the way you're supposed to do, within the laws and within the rules of doing it, a time will come when you have to be considered for promotion. So you don't walk around with that burden of, by the man like me, because me and the man is there with the same recruit. The man is like me because I just stab his son. And when I search, he had weed money. The man is like me because he sent me for beat up a banner that trouble his daughter, and I tell you there's not police work. No, members of the joint services, you can look forward to respect as a professional because that is what you are. You are professionals and you'll be treated professionally. And you can look forward to being treated according to merit. People are going to get superseded. How many of you have been superseded by this government, the PPP, over the years? Because here, the next man in line is Paul Williams, and we can't control Paul Williams. Because Paul Williams know the police standing order like the palm of his hand, and he just use it as a Bible when he doing police work. We can't control it. And so now we can't allow the man to take control, because if we allow the man to take control, we're going to lose control. We can't politicize this thing anymore. So let me find a trump-up charge, a trump-up allegation, or something, but at the end of the day, he can't be leader. We got to supersede him. It is time for those things to be a thing of the past and Guyana to be a law-abiding, ordered society. Ordered societies thrive. Ordered societies grow. People live happier and more comfortable lives in ordered society. Policemen and women, joint services members, you at the end of the day are members of the society. Give yourselves an opportunity to breed. Give yourself an opportunity to breed. This is your opportunity to kick the PPP out and allow a government that will put you first and respect you, that will allow citizens to in turn respect you, because you will be doing your work with respect. Sometimes I am ashamed. Sometimes I'm carrying people around in my vehicle. If I'm moving around with a group of friends or something, or in public transportation, from the time people see police, them cross this. They're only out there harassing people for box money. Look, police and thief. I am sure that is not why you joined the police force. I am sure that is not why you became members of the military. I am sure that is not why you became members of the Guyana Prison Service or the Guyana Fire Service in short. I am sure that is not why you became a member of the Joint Services. And so throw that burden off of your back that is called the PPP, that has you doing all of these illicit things and being disrespected the way you are disrespected. And don't tell me it's not the whole force bad, because one rotten apple spoils the whole barrel. And the few terrible and miserable ones in the joint services are allowed to be terrible and miserable because the PPP has so much political control of the joint services that even those who would like to change it because of the authority they have according to the laws of this country can't change it. They can't change it. Here's an opportunity. Today is your opportunity, members of the joint services. Go there, look for the perm. Let me show you the perm, in case you know. Look the perm there. Look for the perm. On your ballot, this is what you're likely to see. The name of the party, APNU. Then the symbol in the middle of the palm. And that empty box at the end there, you got to put in the X. Ensure the X doesn't touch any of the lines, because in this time, all kinds of things these thieves will try to reject your vote just to steal another election. Look for APNU at the top. Is the first political party on that list, I guarantee you, APNU. The ballot is divided into two sections. It's the top and the bottom. And both places you will see APNU. Find APNU, look for the palm, and put your X in the box next to it. By that simple act, By that simple act, you're reclaiming your freedom. You're reclaiming the freedom of your next generations. You are voting for law and order. You are voting against child rapists, abductors, and murderers. You are voting against corruptors. You are voting against tax thieves. You are voting for an ordered society where people get an opportunity to enjoy a better quality of life and livelihood. What does your vote mean to you? Just another bar on your shoulder, and you can't wear that bar with pride? Just another stripe, and you cannot wear that stripe with pride? You don't even feel safe in the uniform that carries that stripe? This is your opportunity. This is your opportunity. And whether you grasp it or you lose it is dependent on you. Every single one of you. Today, the Joint Services members, on the 1st of September, every other member society, every single one of you, you have a beautiful opportunity to turn this country around. The ball is in your court. The result going to be based on how you bounce it. But don't bounce it out of selfishness and bounce it out of supporting wrongdoing, and then come the morning after the election, you hold your head and ball, and you look to cast the blame somewhere else, because we're good for that in this society. We are very good for that in this society. In this society, people look for somebody else to carry the burden of their actions all the time. We have an opportunity to take responsibility, to change the status quo. To fix the wrongs, to right the wrongs, and move this country forward. As a nation, the ball is in your court. It's 22 minutes past the 8 o'clock hour. The lines are open. 6225933 is the number to call.
Boxing people!
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Kadaki, and good morning to all our listeners. Today, I'm just going to try to do quickly because I know a lot of people have a lot to say. I'm just going to try to say what the Lord, I tell the scripture, passage of scripture that He gave me for the APNU. And it's taken from Isaiah 43. Verse 1 said, "But now, thus said the Lord that created thee, O Jacob." And in the place of Jacob and in the place of Israel, we got to put the APNU there, the collation. O Jacob, and the former, and I, O Jacob, and he that formed thee, O Israel. He said, "Fear not, for I have redeemed thee. I have called thee by thy name. Thou art mine." God is claiming us. He said, we belongs to him. He said, "When thou pass through the water, I will be with thee. And through the rivers, they shall not overflow thee. When thou walkest through the fire, thou shalt not be burned, neither shall the flame kindle upon thee." And how we could relate this to what happening on the ground is to say that never mind the struggle that we are going through now. Never mind all the people that are against us, he will be with us. We have to continue to do our part. That's what we have to do. We have to continue doing what we are doing now to win the election, and God is going to be with us. That's what he's saying. I'm going to do one more. He said, "For I am the Lord thy God, the Holy One of Israel, thy Savior. I give Egypt for thy ransom, Ethiopia and Seba for thee." So he's saying he will give people for you. Instead of you going to, instead of you getting burned or you getting punished, he will give people who we know that are bad people to get punished instead of you, to suffer instead of you. Verse 4 says, "Since thou wast precious in my sight, thou hast been honorable, and I have loved thee." God said he loves us. It's God saying that with your own mouth. "I have loved thee, therefore will I give men for thee, and people for thy life." And verse 5 he said again, "Fear not, I am with thee. I will bring your seed from the east and gather them from the west. I will say to the north, give, I will say to the north, give up, and to the south, keep not back. Bring my sons from afar and my daughters from the ends of the earth." So I'm going to stop there for now. God is telling us that he will bring our people back into one. He will pull them back. He will say to the north, that is what he will do, because he declares his sovereignty in verse 1 that he's God, or he is omnipotent. He declares that he's divine. He declared his spiritual connection to us and security, right? And so he's saying he's going to bring them back together under the one umbrella, which is the APN umbrella. And the old verse, like the old chapter, is talking about, I could relate it to the situation on the ground, but other people have to speak. So I'm saying once again, fear not. Keep on doing what we're doing. Because remember, prayers without works is dead, right? And if you say you have faith, but you're not going out and venturing into what you believe that you could do, it ain't making no sense. God can't help us because God is not on the ground. God is in heaven. He will do his thing, and we have to do our thing. Thank you for allowing me this time, and good morning to all.
Thank you for your call. I'm going through the comments, and somebody's asking about special treatment for the disabled. Listen, I can't recall everything that I read in the manifesto, but I will say to you, the Aubrey Norton government is going to put people first. There's what we call the Disabled Commission, or the Disability Commission, that the PPP took and kick in a corner. It's going to be resuscitated. It is going to be resuscitated because people with disabilities need special treatment. They need special treatment. You can't tell a disabled man that he can't get land because he can't work. The state has a responsibility of taking care of every citizen, and a disabled person, is a citizen. And so here, I'm making this commitment. I like make commitments. Even if they ain't got a policy that it has been raised, I will raise it, and in government, I certainly will stand for it. Call you on.
Good morning to you and all my black brothers and sisters. Well. I enjoyed the first caller. Why Flash Garden? Because I could remember when someone said, Flash, how you know God sent Abby Norton? I said, God said, for let you know. Let your light shine before men, that they could see your good works and glorify the Father. And I said, Abby Norton light shine over 50 years between black and all Guyanese in Guyana. That's why God chose him. When Flash Garden said that trust and then verify, nobody believed Flash Garden. I always said it every day. Oh, they give me a hard time for this line. Oh, Flash. Oh, you always talk about I've been not weak, I've been not soft. But Mr. Paul, Dr. Paul Williams come and said, look to the heart, not the face. Similar what me said for maybe weeks and years and months. Trust Mr. Abinati and then verify him. Look to the heart, not the face. I'm glad what God has did for Flash Garden. When they don't believe me, he sent somebody again to make sure I listen to what Flash Garden said. It's for me. When I said that two leaders, black leaders, fail us, I love to call names. I said Desmond Prasad failed us, Granger Prasad failed us, because there was not no politician. I said Abinati is a politician and a wise politician. And I live for hear that Dr. Todd, he said it is time for us to put a politician inside there. Thank you, God. Blessed are ye that not seen, but yet believe. God said, in everything you say and do, always acknowledge him. Always remember he's there to call upon. Always mention his name. Not mention his name when you need him. Even when you don't need him, you mention his name. I am glad that these couple weeks, I am listening a lot of people is talking about God. One sister said a couple weeks ago, Flash, like you want to turn this program into Bible study. Of course, yes, because why? If you walk and stomp your foot, you will say, oh God. Anything happen, you'll say, oh God. Because it is in you. Black people is well blessed in this world, but we sell our blessing out. I see a video last before me go, with a young black boy come out and said, this message for all the ghetto people. He don't even understand the word of ghetto, what ghetto mean. This for ghetto people. We must rally behind Mohammed, because Mohammed is our hopes. Mohammed is the one that who would maybe take us out of poverty. But something he said, like he don't know, or like he don't read and remember. Oh, we must go and protest in front of the American embassy for them remove that sanction from Mohammed. Brother, you know what you're saying? Thank God for the American embassy put sanction, because he was killing us, sucking out all the juice and the wealth from our country that the same Mohammed. But you know what? I ain't give him wrong. Why? Because maybe he born in Jagdio time. So in Jagdio time, they said truth to the pastor joke, but this is not joke. A lot of parents couldn't give their baby breastfeed. That's why this young generation, their brains is upside down. Enough of us couldn't get milk tea for 7 morning or 6 morning or even 2 morning. It's black water tea. One sister testified and said, when she can't break down, she went to a friend. When she go upstairs there, by the friend, something nice was smelling. But she said, what are you cooking? She said, what callaloo or some pot or something, but it smelled nice. But there was no meat, not even egg. But she said, when she look at the other side, she see the baby drinking sugar water tea. Is that what we want to continue to give our baby sugar water tea, and our baby mother cannot give our son and daughter breast milk? Vote for Abinati. We will ensure we get breast milk for our baby parents, and they will get milk 7 days a week. Thank you for your weekend. Thank you for listening, and happy weekend.
Karaki, blessings and good morning, my brother, to you and our listeners. Blessings to listeners from the diaspora and also listeners from the four corners of the globe. Karaki, this morning, my contribution, I just want to ask Guyanese people if the PPP have served them well within these 5 years. That's the question I want to ask them. If they satisfy with how Bharat Jagdeo and his cabal treat them for this last 5 years. Now, Critic used to be on his program calling black people hungry belly, scrape and all these kind of name, and Bharat Jagdeo as the VP never yet one day come to black people rescue and say, critics, don't use these kind of words. It's too offensive. Never yet one day. All he does be doing is skinning the teeth and laughing. And the scrapes and the hungry belly, they need all you know. They love all you because they need all your vote. No. But black people, get real, eh? Get real. The PPP and the cabal do love all you. All they love is all your vote now. And trust me, don't take God out from all your thought and go and elect them people, because trust me, it will be the worst. This 5 years that they spent in office, it wasn't easy, but we are a resilient kind of people. We withstand the test of time, because if we could go through that for 400 and something years, you trust me, time for we to come out of this. And the joint services, watch me, all your vote against the PPP, because there is racist, they're greedy, and they're covetous, and they love power. So, my Guyanese brothers and sisters, be smart. I am out and listening, my brother.
Yeah, good morning, Kadaki. Lots of things. I got to listen to the replay of Minister Jordan and what he spoke about the Privy Court and so on and the CCG. If we were still with this Privy Court, we wouldn't have got a thing like Roxanne George, because I know they would have charged her for contempt of court when she flouted the order of the CCJ by using Order 60 to put in this unconstitutional government that she later go in and say that Order 60 was unconstitutional. And she may would have been charged with treason, because anytime you interfere with a country apparatus in whatever form, I think the charge of that is treason. The highest charge should be treason. So if we had the Privy Court, it would have been a different ball game. Now I read where Amanza, certain parts where she was to be contesting in, they have removed her from those areas. So I want to know if we can say that we are going in to an election with a legitimacy of the polls, because Amanda submitted her list since nomination day. And I think that GCOM and the body of whole should have been able to cite the problems in her thing for the election and started to let her know where and where she could have been contesting. And I believe Amanzo, who was in government for how many years, whether 5 years, she was a part of government, and she would have known what was required of her. Unlike the other party that is in, and everything where the party there is nothing that they find ill against the party, save the emblem they were using. And the GCOM did not see to say, well, they found any problems other than the emblem that they were using for the race. So I want to know if this election is on a level playing field. Lastly, Kadaki, I would like to get a full explanation on the phones not being allowed in the voting compartment. Somebody called me yesterday and was trying to tell me that the phone sense is so the people who are working there, if they see any atrocities happening on election day, they will not be able to use the phone to capture the event and report it to anybody. But I don't think that that is it. Last, yesterday I went on a little outing. We left and we got to Perico for 4:30. The boat was to leave and go to Bartica for 5 o'clock. When we got there at 4 something in the morning, only to learn that the boat that was to depart for Bartica at 5 o'clock was not departing Bartica for 5 o'clock, but 12 o'clock in the day. Now, Guyana is a country that is trying to say they tapping everything and they want to do tourism. Now we had to go to region 2 to the vexation of all the persons. I didn't want to say let us go home back because if the bus to take us back had already left Perico. So I said let me go to thing. But what I'm saying now, if you got a service to provide for people and something goes wrong, you shouldn't give the people a full assurance. We go and this is the time. If something come up, I believe that transport and harbors should have at least said something. Our scheduled departure is X time, but if there is a problem at a moment's notice, we will try to get onto you. But now when patrons go there and when they meet the hour demanding to suddenly turn and tell them, oh, we can't go till what o'clock. I believe that things like that must be looked into and dealt with. If we want to move forward, we got to get a lot of things right in Guyana. We got to get things right in Guyana because I'm still reeling from the trip because I am looking like a scoundrel. Bye bye.
Thank you for the call. And so the question asked by the person about different labels and so on caused me to go to the social protection aspect of the manifesto. And so here we have it. Let's show it. Social protection from whom to whom. The World Bank in the 2020 report advised that Guyana must establish as priority a, quote, comprehensive social protection system, end quote. We agree, as one of its flagship policies, the APNU coalition government will establish a comprehensive social protection system to be managed by a professional and ramped up Ministry of Social Protection. Our specific goals: to eliminate economic marginalization and ensure all Guyanese households have a livable income, including indigenous communities. To ensure differently abled persons and vulnerable groups enjoy their human rights and entitlements to the fullest. That alone answers the question. If we are saying citizens are entitled to a free plot of land if they earn below $400,000 monthly, disabled people are citizens too, and so they will get their just due. Okay? Good. To ensure every child gets the best possible care from birth through childhood, in accordance with the UN Sustainable Development Goal number 42. To foster economic development by investing in the well-being, comfort, and capabilities of people. To support households experiencing economic shocks or crises, such as death of the breadwinner, loss of employment, loss of assets by fire, etc. To empower women and to guarantee their rights and dignities in accordance with UN Sustainable Development Goal number 5. To evaluate, audit previous cash grants, to assess 1, modalities, payment mechanisms, and practices, and 2, benefit cost effectiveness with respect to goals set by government of Ghana, plus conduct a feasibility study for full-blown legislated universal basic income mechanisms to be up and running by 2030. I don't think we have enough time for me to discuss or explain the universal basic income. But in short, it is what the WPA and Professor Clive Thomas said, listen, there must be direct cash transfer to every household. Okay, when you do direct cash transfer to every household gets a minimum income on a monthly basis, if you look at it from that angle. To reform the national insurance scheme to achieve sound financial health and efficient customer service and to award more generous benefits. Early childhood care and education plan and so on and so forth. I can continue with that, but I know that we will have more time to continue discussing the specifics of the manifesto. And so, let me see, there is another voice note I will play.
Good morning, Mr. Kadaki. I just want to speak to my brothers and sisters in the disciplinary forces. My people, think before you put that X. Look where you came from. Look and see what you're going through. Look and see if you want to remain there. That's all I'm telling you people this morning. And I know it's going to make some sense. Think, my people. Think. Think and think very well before you put that X. Thank you.
Thank you for that voice note. It is 12 minutes to the 9 o'clock hour. You're still tuned to the Guyanese Morning Time. I am still your host, Kidaki Amsterdam, and we're still talking about those things.
Nation away, nation! DJ, let me tell you something. Don't you ever play anything. One of you must know that the only way you're going to get rid of the PPP is that you have to vote. You have to vote for the PPP to go. You have to vote. So I want to encourage you all to do some things. Right here by Blair Square, every day a young lady sits at a laptop or a tablet, and she is willing to check for your name on the voters list. So you turn up here any day, and you say, I want to know where I am voting. She will find it, and she will tell you where you're voting. That is important. It is important that you find out where your name is on the voters list and where you're voting early, because if you don't, then there's a plan to frustrate you on election day. You gotta understand the plan. Many of you who were accustomed to voting, for example, let me say Studio 35 or Tipperary or Community Life Fellowship,
Evidently, the PPP GCOM has moved you around the place. I can tell you, I used to support a community like Furniture Purchase Product Cleavage Church. It's right in front by me. And I remember when I checked for my name the other day and where to vote, I saw that they have me over the PIC. And then I said, oh, I don't follow this thing. When they pay the cash grant, my family have to go to the PIC to collect their money. And so I rather suspect, wherever you went to collect your money for cash grant, that is where you will vote. But confirm it early. Check the list early. Ensure your name is on the list. Ensure you know where to vote. Now, if your name is not on the list, it's too late to fix that. But it doesn't mean that you can't be a part in putting the PPP out of government. You can. You have to become an ambassador, become an agent for the APNU. And every person you see, you engage in a conversation about voting for the APNU and the importance of voting for the APNU. I'm going to get to the importance of voting for the APNU, but let us understand what we have to do to ensure that we see the backs of the PPP. Brothers and sisters, everybody in your house, everybody in your neighborhood, everybody in this village, everybody in your workplace, every friend of yours on WhatsApp and Facebook and TikTok, encourage them to vote for the APNU. Let me explain this to you. There are some people that come in and tell you they want a minority government. A minority government means one set of people controlling the government and another set controlling the parliament. Brothers and sisters, we ain't playing the joke. We ain't playing no minority government joke. The coalition, the greater coalition, was in control of the government when they had a Taragas and they put me out of government before that. We ain't playing the joke no more. We have to ensure that our margin of victory is so big that they got to get another 10 Taragases to put us out of government this time. And if we are going to get that big majority to ensure that your government, your Northern Toronto Finance-led government of the APNU can do what they would like to do for you, you have to ensure that you come out and you vote in your numbers. Brothers and sisters, I want to tell you something. I grew up here and I said, don't put your eggs in one basket. But tonight I'm encouraging you to put all of your eggs in the APNU basket. Every single one from this village must go to the APNU. Brothers and sisters, it's not a command, it's an encouragement. And I'm going to tell you why. Let me answer this. Boxing people, where is your market? Buxtonian, just where your market there. Tomorrow morning, a couple of our farmers will be made to squeeze out of this farmer. That's not the market. Go to Lusignan. It is covered and it is partly lit. They could do market all in the night. And if you think that it's only very short stuff, you should have passed it today and see the pavement all the way to the Electoral or wherever the going on, what's in the burial ground. That is Lusignan
The PPP built a larger market for them. They said, when I like how you build, broke down this section and fix them. The PPP broke it down and they fixed it. And they are in the third phase of extending that market. But Buxton, asking again, where is your market? If you look over there, we got our dilapidated, abandoned place that they want us to believe is our market. But that place is only a symbol of what is happening across this country under the PPP. Not a single market in an African Guyanese village has been fixed under the PPP. There is reason to get rid of them. And I'm going to tell you why it's reason to get rid of them. Every time you or your vendors in this community have to pay a taxi to buy the goods and bring it to the village, and then they got to pay a taxi to carry it home and bring it back next morning, and then pay a taxi to carry it home and bring it back next morning, it means that you are forced to pay more for what you're consuming in your community. And since you pay more for what you're consuming in your community, it means that the money can't reach, you can't make ends reach. But when you go to Louisiana and you go to Mornig, they got storage space. When they pay one time to carry it to the market, it stays at the market, well protected, and so they can sell cheap. And the people could buy cheap. That in itself is discrimination. Brothers and sisters, I want to tell you something. I want to ask you another question. Where is your hospital? Buxton! Where is hospital there? Let me tell you, right next to the market, we got a health center. I'm not knocking the nurses and doctors and whoever work at the health center. But I'm saying to you that my understanding is you can't get a common Panadol at the health center. But forget the Panadol. Let me tell you that more than 20 years, when the PPP was in government, the PPP come out of government, and the PPP go back into government, that Buxton Health Center there was supposed to become a cottage hospital. Your own Buxton people invested their money, and they were willing to fix that place to become a cottage hospital. It means you would get everything related to the hospital right there in Buxton, only on a smaller scale. The PPP abandoned it. And they went here more. And they built something named a polyclinic, I think. And it was there all the time. I'm going to give you an experience just about that polyclinic. And every time the residents of Elmore wanted, they had went to the polyclinic. But nothing was available in Buxton. I remember going to the Buxton Health Center. So I can clean and polish my teeth. And the dentist there said, we can't clean and polish your teeth because we don't have masks and whatever else was needed. I said, okay. There were two dental specialists there. And I left and I went to Elmore at the polyclinic. It didn't take me 5 minutes to see a dental technician. There were 5 of them there. There were 5. There were 5. And immediately I got service. And so I'm saying to you, brothers and sisters, the PPP is ensuring that people in this community and this neighborhood don't get proper health care. And for that, you have to get rid of them. It's not only Buxton alone it happened, but to Victoria. And we had there the C.C. Nicholson Hospital, I think the Baptist is the right place. The Baptist. Go to C.C. Nicholson. And you are going to see a ghost building there that used to be a good functional hospital producing and providing services to the black brothers and sisters. Brothers and sisters, like I tell you, I didn't come here to tell you all that is wrong because you know what is wrong. I'm just reminding you of what is wrong. But let me address some people. There got a lot of people in this community. There got a lot of people in this country. They look like me. They're black like me. And they put on the red jerseys. And they say, AP and you never do nothing for me. They say, if I vote for AP and you, I still got to work. But I want to tell you something. The first thing I want to say, regardless of who is in government, you got to work. You got to work. But the difference is the value you will get for your labor when you work. When the great AP was in government, public servants, most of them look like me, black like me. They were getting about $38,000 a month. But by the time greater government left office, 5 years later, they were getting $100,000+ a month. They still have to work, but they were getting at least or approximately 3 times what the PPP was paying them 5 years before. I want to ask you something. I just demonstrated that the greater government, the APNU, of which Aubrey Norton and Director Finance and David Hines, and lots of others are now in control of, increased public servant salary by 70-something%. Without oil money, I want to tell you that. Without oil money. The PPP has been in government for approximately 5 years now, with lots and lots and lots of oil money. Do you know Guyana is producing around 900,000 barrels of oil per day? And so if you're producing 900,000 barrels of oil per day, if at $25 a barrel, we never do the math. But that's a whole lot of money that the PPP is getting. The PPP presented the first $1 trillion budget in this country. There's a amount of money that you have access to. But I'm asking you this. Have public servants received 50% salary increase in it? Public servants have not seen a 50% salary increase. And so you still got to work, but look at the difference in the value for your labor. Good? So the APNU and the Greater did something for us. And the APNU and the Army, Director Finance, David Hines, and the others will definitely do something for us. I'll tell you the first thing that will be done. Within the first 100 days, public servants will be getting 35% increase in their wages and salaries. 35%. I'll tell you that unless you're drawing, unless you're earning, unless you're taking home more than $400,000 a month, you'll pay one time, not 1 cent in taxes. As you know it, has changed. The tax ceiling is now $400,000. If you're making $400,000, you will pay nothing. It means you're going home with more money. Right? You know what else they're doing? All of you who are out of secondary school and you decide I go to University of Guyana and I go to GITC and I go to GTN, $600,000 a year for you. Free money. Tell it free money. $600,000 a year for you. Our pensioners, I think our Robin said, pensioners got to cut and contrive. Some people say they live in a hand to mouth. $41,000 a month. Hear me. Once the APNU takes office, after the 1st of September this year, $100,000 for pensioners. We're doubling the money. The money doubling. Understand that. But those are national policies. I want to tell you what is in store for Buxton. One thing I want to tell you is that you got 4 hard-working Buxtonians from the WPA on the APNU list. You got 4, you hear me? You got 4 hard-working Buxtonians on the APNU list on the WPA. You know the Emirates. You know the Abrams. You certainly know Kennedy Amsterdam. I definitely am not teaching about it. These are villagers who have been tried and tested in terms of working for this village. And I'm guaranteeing you, when the APNU gets into office on the 1st of September, we will continue to work for you, and we will work even harder for you, because we will have access to the resources to build this community for you. There's some commitments I want to make. You see them tractor and plow and farming implements that the PPP carried from Buxton? Let me remind you, it was the Granger government that brought them and gave them to Buxton, because we wanted to ensure that the farmlands were productive again. The PPP carried them away. We are going to ensure that they get returned to this village. We are going to ensure that the tractor and plow and other farming implements come back to Buxton to benefit our farmers. Brothers and sisters, some years ago, under Robert Prasad, he was then Minister of Agriculture. The PPP came through from the back of the village, and they graded down all the permanent crops. All Buxton spice mango tree gone. All jamun gone. Every single permanent crop, coconut tree gone. What was left behind there was what we call bandit. The Granger government invested through the Red Project, and we clear up the land and we make land available to people, and then they started through the Narian Son, giving plants to Buxtonians to replant the back dam. The PPP come, and we start getting drainage issues again. I am committing that when the APNU gets into office for September 1st, we will ensure that the Buxton back dam is fixed, so that production in the Buxton back dam could be maximized. When we can feed our people in this community, we are independent and we are champions. Brothers and sisters, the more people could tell you, we used to bring up boat loads upon boat loads of Buxton spice from behind there. Since you make some water gone in your boat, we used to sell coconut to border market. You remember backyard truck and Jane Kenyatta, and whoever else used to live there with truckloads of coconut to go to border market? Nowadays, we buy coconut from a hiker, etc. We are going to ensure that the Buxton back dam becomes productive again, so that we can sustain ourselves. And if the producing at the back, naturally, you want a marketplace where you're going to sell your stuff. Brothers and sisters, I'm going to tell you this. This is my personal goal. I will not sleep until I see a multi-story building in that yard at Buxton Market. I will not rest until there's a multi-story building there. We want no flat market no more. We want a market that got sections in the air. And I will not rest until we can get that. Brothers and sisters, y'all remember Baba Bull? How many of you remember Baba Bull? The big people could tell you about Baba Bull. Baba Bull used to operate at the lesson space. At the lesson space, we used to teach our villagers and outsiders free of charge. We used to give them education free of charge. And they never used to go hungry because we had Baba Bull. If they got food on them, they eat at Baba Bull. I am saying, brothers and sisters, that given the fact that the PPP would like to see all the black
sweep roadside, we will ensure that in this community, among all the other communities, there is free education, free access to evening classes, free access to night school, so that our children who have left the education system unqualified and just going to be cleaning gutter, knocking around the place will get a second chance. This is my talk, brothers and sisters. The AP in your past, David Gradle used to have night schools. There were night schools in Sophia, there were night schools in Linden, there were also child care centers around this country. The PPP shut them down. Because why? They want your children to remain unqualified and in ignorance so they can wrap up a $20,000 in a red t-shirt and get them and say, we got your back. Brothers and sisters, they got your back. They want you to spread your back so that they can walk on it. Here, I got to fight with all them youngsters in this village who tell themselves that they're contractors now. Because the PPP give them a road cleaning contract, and the PPP give them a gutter cleaning contract, and the PPP paying them $40,000 to put flags around this village. I got to fight with them. Because you know what? They got to eat. You got to eat. But I got a problem with you when you're going to start singing the praises of your oppressors and say that they love you. Because they didn't love you. If they didn't love you, from the time they got into government in 2020, they're going to start looking after your interests. But they waited until they got about 4 months the election, and then they come and say, hey, we love you. Take this $20,000. Take this $100,000. But you know what? When you tell yourself that you're getting contracts that will make you the man or the woman in this community, put all of your contracts together, then equal to one contract that the PPP gives to their own. Y'all didn't hear me? I said put all the contracts that they give them young black boys in this village. The money can equal to one contract that they get an Indian boy in India. And so you tell yourself that the PPP love you. And you're doing well. Because you get in the contract, I want to ask you this question. How many of you after doing the contract can walk into any car dealership and pay cash for $10 million vehicle? Where them little Kolibai over and they're doing. I am doing that. I am showing you the reality. They love you. They're calling you. Hear me? I sat up right the other night. You ever ask yourself how the fish get catch? The fish get catch because the fisherman throw the hook in the water with bait or food. And the fish open his mouth, he say, what? The man love me. The man feeding me. And he swallow. And when he swallow, he hook up. And instead of enjoying the love that he thought that man had for him, he became the next meal. Brothers and sisters in this village, don't be the next meal for the PPP. Do not be the next meal for the PPP. I take the chairman, say, I got 1 minute. Forgive me if I disobey you. Hear me. I want to talk to you quickly about a man named Asudin Mohammed. Every single household in this community and neighboring community suffer losses of lives. I remember I was in my bed when somebody come and said, I didn't talk by the street there. So can I It was just around the Easter season. And I got out of my bed and I came across here. And I learned of the murder of Shaka Blair. Shaka was only one. Maybe the earliest Buxtonian to be murdered at the hands of the PPP killers. But they didn't stop there. I remember a woman named Donna McKinnon. When you go down Rough Street, all of y'all who just wear the red shirt and celebrate the PPP, I'm telling you this, when you're going to Freedom House, the empty land that then just before you reach Freedom House, call Donna McKinnon name or blood is on that land. And she was only fighting for Justice and St. We've supporting win. I want you to call that McKenna name because Shell Mohammed, the father of Ashwin Mohammed, said, when Dana McKenna get killed for them tonight, we had 2 guns in Freedom House. And so I want you brothers and sisters to tell me, convince me, how the people who were murdering your brothers and sisters, who were selling guns to the enemy, to kill your brothers and sisters, could suddenly wake up and love you and be your savior. I want you to tell me that. Brothers and sisters, when they had kids and guns and ammunition coming into this community, the so-called Taliban couldn't leave here to go and buy them. They couldn't leave here to go and get them. Ask who their suppliers were. And I will tell you that the suppliers were big businessmen and women who support the PPP in Georgetown. The Mohammeds were among big businessmen who support the PPP in Georgetown. Y'all tell me that y'all can get any love out of those who have been paid for the murder of your family members and villagers across this country. Brothers and sisters, I would be complete in delivering this message to you if I fail to remind you that the Herod's family are Buxtonians. The Herods are Buxtonians, and they continue to contribute to the growth and development of people of this village. But we still got the murder of the Herod outstanding. Let us not forget the blood of our relatives and friends and ancestors that have been shed by the PPP and their enablers like the Mohammeds. And last but not least, let us not forget, brothers and sisters, our 11-year-old daughter. Let us not forget our 11-year-old daughter, Adriana Young. Let us not forget, because I'm saying to you, all of you, Adriana was abducted and murdered at the Belvedere Hotel, but you put the PPP in office another term, and they will come into your homes, and they will collect your sons and daughters, and you will not be able to resist them. You will not be able to resist them. Remember, in this country, in the next election, the PPP is offering you murderers, rapists, child abductors, corruptors, thieves, criminals, drug pushers. Check their list and you will see. You want me to call some names to you? I can call some names to you. Look how these people are disrespectful to you, Buxtonians and Guyanese. Imagine this is an election year. And in an election year, you want to get the support of everybody. But they are bold enough to offer you Garadal. They're bold enough to offer you Charlie, whatever his name. They're bold enough to offer you a lot of people who've been accused of a lot of wicked things in this country. But you know what else they're bold enough to do? To keep a man named Lorimer out of jail, despite the court has sentenced him to jail. You all think on that. Think on that and decide whether or not that's the government you want come September 2nd. I am saying to you, again, for the PPP to go, you must vote. Every single boy, woman, and child. The boy, friend, according to the Honorable Doctor last night, if you're sweet man, you're sweet woman, encourage all of them. The only place you're voting is for the APNU. Burn out!
All right, give it up, give it up, give it up. Give it up, fiery, fiery, fiery. This is like putting the...
Palm them out! It's 20 minutes past the 9 o'clock hour. I don't see a lot of you in the cash app. As a matter of fact, I saw one person. Thank you, Monica. Monica went to the cash app and she put something there. And I think I saw 2 persons went to the Zell and they put something there. Come on. Put your money where your mouth there. Y'all gotta support this fight, Y'all gotta support this fight. So go across to the Cash App and the Zell and send your contributions and help us to continue to carry this fight. We're in the last lap. Let us make it mean something. I'm done. Over and out. Let me see. There might be a voice note or so. Let me see if there's any. No, there's no new voice note. Is there? Did I think I played this one. Let me see. Yeah, this one was played.
Good morning, Mr. Kadaki.
Yeah, this one was played. All right, so see you all around. Tomorrow, as of tomorrow, the APNU campaign, at least in the Buxton area, is changing face. Sunday, we're doing a walkabout in Buxton. All y'all who could come and join us, come let we walk. Come let we swamp Buxton and talk to Buxton people. Especially them youth man and young ladies. Let me talk to our young people. Y'all come help me. Come join the band. Okay? That's an invite. From whichever corner you are, if you have the time on Sunday, come to Buxton from about 2 o'clock and let us walk every section of this community and talk with our people. Boots on the ground. This is the time you really need boots on the ground. To get the PPP out, we need to get out every single vote and convert every single vote for the APNU. Y'all have a good one. Much love. And those of you who are Christians and those of you who are praying people of God, y'all lift up this nation. Lift up this nation. While some of you going to pray, some of you going to walk. And some of you going to pray and walk at the same time. We got to get the backs of these devils out of government. Much love. See you. Goodbye. Enjoy the rest of your day.